Good evening, family. I think I am up. Let me just double check this. I want to make sure I am up. It says I am live in my destination. So, thanks for checking out this stream from Friedman Media. This is going to be a little different than what I normally do, but it's much of the same. You know, I'm always here to talk about repair. I'm always here to talk about the betterment of my people. No matter how the message comes out, it's always for the betterment of my people. And today I'm going to be speaking about Ann Arbor Huron because Ann Arbor Huron athletic department, in particular the football team, just made history. And we'll get more into that, but I wanted to at least open up so everybody knows exactly what I'll be speaking on. But we just had 17, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll get it right in a moment, 17 individuals sign collegiate letters of intent to study and play football from the School of Ann Arbor Huron. Now, everybody knows that's my alma mater, and I have coached there previously, attempted to coach back in 2019 once again, but you know, due to some unfortunate circumstances, wasn't able to fulfill that obligation, but followed the program pretty closely over the last few years. And I'm glad to have seen what I saw. And we'll talk more about that as well. But I believe that the administration missed. And it's an unfortunate situation because I believe they missed yet again. And before I go any further, I just want to get into my intro, send my shares out to the destinations that I need to be at, and then we'll get back cooking in about 2 minutes.
You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a worm, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you.
Oh, we got a problem here? We got a problem here? We got a problem, nigga? Oh, what else? In my mind. Can hear all the black folks you want. Oh, we got a problem here? We got a problem here? We got a problem, nigga? Oh, what else? Wars, lady, and you give us nothing. Now, the war is going to be here, but we're going to be free. Now, you kill you want to, but we kill too.
I indeed believe we have a problem here. I indeed believe we have a problem here. And thank you for anybody that is going to check out this stream, anybody that's going to join us on the playback. Please understand where I'm coming from today, because of my intimacy with this school, with this football program, with some blood relatives connected to this program. I'm really trying to restrain myself because I'm upset. I'm upset at people that have been entrusted by the school system, by the parents, by the student athletes, and I believe that they were failed. I've talked to a couple parents at this point to confirm what I had been told, and I'm not real happy. I'm just not. Appreciate you, Frida. Information man, I appreciate you. Peace, love, and respect. I'm here. The villagers here. We're going to speak from the perspective of the village. I'm going to try to stay within my emotions because I'm a little hot now. A few days ago, we had ceremoniously, because what I just found out is I guess the kids actually sign their letters of intent prior to, and this was more of a ceremony to have them all do it together. I don't know a lot about these particulars, so I'm just trying to stay up on what I do know, what I've found out. But a few days ago, there were more than a dozen, and I'm going to be bringing this up here, but more than a dozen student athletes from Ann Arbor Huron to sign letters of intent to play college football and to take their studies to the next level. I thought that should have been celebrated by the whole school. I thought that was something that should have been looked at by the administration, by the athletic department, as not only a good thing, but a great thing, because you try to build off of what you have. And if what you have is something substantive, you try to build and build better. What I'm finding and what I've found out, that didn't happen with the faculty. That didn't happen with the athletic department. Now, if I come to find after today, I have no problem with going live once again and recanting anything that I say wrongfully today. But from what I know today, all of these young men who put in years of hard work to get to the point where they are at this point were disrespected by the administration and by the athletic department. And to do what they've done, you obviously had to have put in a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears to get to this point. Now, it's one thing to be a good student. It's another thing to be a good student and a good athlete. Simultaneously, to the point where you can go on and play past your high school level. I'm not sure exactly if anybody else has ever taken that trek and made it or missed, but I can say for myself, I put in 9 years of playing junior football, middle school, high school football, and I never played a day of college football. And I felt like maybe I could have, but I was so set on doing other things in my late teen years that I never made it. I never was able to solidify this type of commitment that these young men put in. And where I am now, I guess I'm somewhat living vicariously through them, because I feel as though what's happened is they've not only been disrespected, but their parents have been disrespected, and their families have been disrespected, and their friends have been disrespected, because you have to do so much to get to this point. I mean, this point is big. And I'm actually working on, while we're talking here, I'm actually working on, give me 1 second. I've got the names of all of the players, and I want to bring them all up in just a moment. But I want to read from this. Give me 1 second here. I want to read from, I'm being blocked for some reason on this page. Oh, you know what? Give me 1 second. I think I know why. Let me bring it here. Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm not going to be able to access it from that particular point. So let me go back, and I'm going to have to read it from where I am here. 1 second. But sorry about this. I should have been more prepared, not understanding exactly where I was, but I believe I overrode something earlier. So let me see if I can get it here. All right, that's not working. Sorry about that. I literally had that, and I think it's because I keep getting text after text, and I'm not. I literally, my phone was dry about 10 minutes ago. Literally, my phone's dry. Now everybody's texting me, and I just don't understand it. I guess that's because people don't watch the lives. Maybe that's just where I'm at. Let me get this all set here. Give me 1 sec. Because I want to acknowledge these young men the right way. So I want to make sure that I can actually get in here. But 17 in total. 17 young men. Absolutely. Congratulations to these young men, because I don't want to slight them in their accomplishment. Even though I'm here in a different mindset, I don't want to speak on them and make people think that this is a negative thing, because this is definitely not a negative thing. Oh, I know where I can find it. Okay. I think I've got it here. Give me one sec. But they were speaking about this, and they were talking about how they had made history. And history had been made because it is the single largest signing day for any athletic program. For any athletic program in Ann Arbor Huron sports team's history. I don't know about the other schools. I'm sure Skyline has never had that many kids go off to college from one sports team because they're an infantile school. Now, as far as Pioneer, maybe years back, but I know nothing recently, and I definitely know nothing this year. But the most important thing here is these kids, because these kids, they not only went through 4 years and the rigors of playing freshman, JV, varsity football and making it to this level, but they dealt with probably the most trying time of our lifetime. I mean, they went through the period of COVID and came out on the other side. They could have easily given up. I mean, there were sports teams that actually imploded through COVID where they didn't have an actual team. These kids stuck it out, not only stuck it out, made 2 playoff runs. They had begun with breaking a 0-39 start, 39 losing streak with the start of the 2019 season. And from that point on, they got better as a unit. Wasn't a great year that first year for then first-year coach Antoine Mack, but the second, third, and fourth year proved this. And he could literally say that this was his team. He inherited players from those others' teams, but this was his team. And I forgot the actual total roster number, but there were 23 seniors and 20 seniors, and 17 are going to play football in college. 20 seniors and 17 are going to play football in college. Now, that's a ridiculous percentage. It's an 85% clip if you're counting. I don't know any other coach out there that's putting kids in college at that point. So I have to congratulate the former, because he resigned, the former head coach, Antoine Mack. And everybody knows I've spoken about the Huron program before. I have not been his biggest supporter. But this is not about me. This is not about him. This is about these youngins in this picture. And what I want to know, because now that I've talked to a few parents, I want to know why these kids were not acknowledged by the athletic department or the administration. I understand they had some type of speakers that came through and spoke. I don't know who they were. They weren't from the athletic department and they weren't from the administration. So it doesn't matter who they were. The athletic director should have spoken, and the principal, Che Carter, should have spoken. And the fact that they didn't speak means your representation is nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I have a problem. There's people still saying hello in the chat. I'm seeing things and I'm trying to put them up on the screen because I thought everybody was congratulating the players, but these are just people speaking in the chat. Anyways, so what I'm trying to do at this point is try to figure out, how did the administration miss again? Because they've missed a lot. Over the last 4 years, dealing with COVID, dealing with other issues, I feel like the Ann Arbor Huron administration has missed a lot. And here I feel like they've missed again, along with the athletic department. And when you have the athletic department not come in on this type of day, what type of support are you showing to the kids, to the student athletes? What type of support are you showing for the kids who are going to come in after them? That's a problem. That's a problem. The former football coach set this up. The former football coach, not the athletic department. I see where you're getting. I see where you want to be. But see, you have to understand what I know right now is that the athletic department had absolutely nothing to do with this. This was all done by the former football coach and his former staff, and possibly even some players with the setup and the breakdown. So that's a problem. Congratulations to these young men. The kids and the coaching staff worked very hard. Coach Mack was a great asset to the kids in Huron High School. I can't disagree there, because from what I'm hearing, he had close to 50 players over his 4-year tenure go off to play football and take their studies to a higher level. I don't believe there's another football coach in Ann Arbor football history, Ann Arbor Huron football history, maybe Ann Arbor high school football history, that did the same over a 4-year term. Now, I could stand corrected. Like I said, I have no problem. This will be great for me to be able to come back and find out that, hey, maybe the athletic department was standing behind the glass. Maybe the principal was peeking through the door. But the fact that they did not come and send these young men off, that's a problem. And that's what I've talked about from the beginning. We have a problem here. We have issues here. And where I've had my differences, not only with the football coach or his staff and the way things have been handled with the athletic department, even the administration, right now, the football coach or former football coach is not culpable here. The former football staff is not culpable here. Who is culpable is the principal and the athletic department. Where were they at? Where were they at? I need to know. Where were they at? If you would like your voice to be heard on this issue, you can email the superintendent. Yes. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'd like to know what happened. What happened and why the athletic department and the principal of the school chose to sit this out. The parents noticed it. The student athletes noticed it. And unfortunately for them, I've now noticed it. See, I'm not trying to be a rabble rouser here, but we will find out why this happened. So that comment will be left in the comment section. If you are on Facebook, you can see it. If you are on YouTube, then by all means, hit up the Facebook link on Friedman Media. Or if you know my personal page, I have no problem with that. Make sure you take that down and email so those public comments can be read at the upcoming school board meeting. The coaches and the parents and the players set it up. I mean, what kind of party is that? What kind of party is that? Who sets up their own party? Who puts up their own decorations? They did all the work to get here, but for some reason, they had to set their own party up. And like I said, this has nothing to do with my relationship with the former coach. It has nothing to do with anybody on his previous staff. It has nothing to do with my relationship with the athletic director or the principal. It's got to do with these kids. It's always going to be about these kids. How do the players feel about the situation? Well, when your athletic director doesn't show up, when the principal of your school doesn't show up, and I've been proud to say that we once again had a black principal, and I thought he was a pro-black principal, and he would see to it to these situations how important it is to send young men like this off to higher institutions of learning. Although they just didn't make it through their athletics or their academics, they made it through their athletics. And I know he's the principal of the school, but he played football. He understands. As a player, you got to feel jilted when you're setting up your own party, tearing down your own party. You do all the work in those 4 campaigns to have somebody else do this. That's where you're saluted. That's where you're lauded. It was disappointing to see that the upper administration was not there to support these young men. So disheartening. This is coming from a parent. This is coming from a parent. It's an unfortunate thing sometimes, Frida. We are our own worst enemy. Sometimes points of elevation are not the best place for everybody. I've had my differences with the athletic director because I felt like he was just the next guy in line. I felt like he was the next guy in line, and Dottie Davis said, hey, you want this job? I'll lobby for you. Make sure you get on in. He was a trainer, and from what I know, he was one of the best trainers in the country. He was not an administrator. He was not an executive administration prior to becoming the athletic director. And maybe that's why some of the things have fallen by the wayside during his tenure as athletic director. But here, I would have expected him to have gotten it right by now. I would have expected him to have gotten it right by now. How would you feel? How should they feel? Ted said that the football team had all academic honors 2 years in a row. This, I believe, is also historical. This should be having a banner celebration soon. Hopefully there will be more support. Hey, we'll see. We couldn't get the principal there. We couldn't get the athletic director there. But maybe they'll show up for the all academics honors banquet. I don't know. What I do know is nobody represented them during this ceremony. I can't look for the next ceremony. I'm stuck on this ceremony. And this is where it becomes where I'm not all educated like some of these folk. I don't have the decorum of some of these folk. But what I do have is I have the interests, the very best interests of every kid at that table, because I know that the work that they put in, I understood the grind. And like I said, they went through one of the most trying times of our lifetime. So imagine what they did during their lifetime. It's not about me, and respectfully, I don't know how they should feel. I want to know how they felt. I can't feel any indifferent for anybody that, because I know that there were, let me see, there's one parent there who I know is a former coach. I'm looking at student athletes right now. So I'm sure his father was there. And then if I'm not mistaken, there's another kid there. His father was a former coach and he's an administrator. So I'm sure he was there. Maybe what they're saying is since they showed up, there was representation from administration and the athletic department. But no, they showed up because they were parents of 2 student athletes going off to institutions of higher learning to play football. That's why they were there. They were not there representing the school. And if they try to tell me that they did this twofold, I'm calling bullshit, because that's not the way it was addressed. And I can't say unless, Lorena, you can tell me if Mr. Edmondson or Mr. Samaha, if they spoke at the ceremony. Did they speak at the ceremony as administrators, as coaches? I'd like to know that because I wasn't there. But I know that they were there as parents first if they did show up to this. If the district was more student focused, this would not happen. Support our students, uplift all of their voices and accomplishments. Absolutely. If you have an idea on how other parents can support, I'm happy to try to gather parents. That'd be wonderful. I appreciate the support on this. Like I said, this has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with anybody on the outside. It has to do with these kids. And if we're sending kids off to school with this little support, where are we in a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now? Where are we? They put it all on the line to get to this day, to be on this panel, to be signing those letters of intent. But where are you now, Mr. Carter? Where are you now, Mr. Weary? Is it Weary? Wiry? I don't even know Tony's last name. I just know Tony. A.D. Tony. That's all I know him. I know how to spell it. I just don't know how to pronounce it. But where I'm at on this, no one spoke except Coach Mack and a former student guest speaker. Okay. And I have no, he probably spoke at the invite of the former coach. And I'm not sure what the relevance was other than to have some type of pseudo motivational speech or something like that. He's not connected to the program that way. I know he knows a lot of the kids, but not connected to the school, not connected to the athletic department. He was just a guest who came in. His kid went to Saline. So he was just a guest. Appreciate you, Sister Yvette. Appreciate you. Did my Krogerine a little earlier today. I like to get in there before the old folks get out and get to running me over with their carts. Y'all need to have this argument offline because I keep clicking the names up on the thing. Y'all need to have this little debate offline. I don't like putting that up there. Y'all look like y'all fighting. And I know y'all know each other, so all that combativeness, you know, I'm already combative. Where do we go? MLive had a great article, and unfortunately, I'm not sure. You know what? Let me see if I can get it on this device here. Give me one quick second. See if I can get it on this device here. I can't get it for some reason on this device. I just don't know. Because I really wanted to say all of the names of the kids that should have been recognized. Here we go. Does this come through? Yes. I'm going to be able to, I want to do this. So out of all of the kids, said here is the list of Ann Arbor Huron players that are continuing their careers at playing football. And obviously they're going to school. I don't like when they put it out there that they're only going off to college to play football. No, they're going off to college to study. They're going off to college to play football. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Y'all something else. Jamil Thomas, Saginaw Valley State University. Jamari Thomas, Saginaw Valley State University. Torrance Green the fourth, Wayne State University. Now, those three right there are all blood relatives. I'm going to pull rank on the stream right now. They're all blood relatives. Very proud of those young men to have ran the gamut during those 4 years, and I'll move forward. Bruce Williams, son of Josh Williams, who was a coach all 4 years. His son played at Huron, Dartmouth College. Adam Samaha, University of Michigan. Donnell Green, St. Ambrose University. Davis Huggins, St. Ambrose University. Javion Cater, Olivet College. Aravind Krishnan, Kalamazoo College. Davion McLilly, Independence Community College. Trey Edmondson, Siena Heights University. Zayers Ruff II, Palmetto Prep. Laith Shama is going to the University of Toledo. And I believe that is everybody. There were a couple kids that I know are undecided, but they have already pre-qualified. They just have to make their decision on which school they're going to go to. But that right there is huge. That right there is huge. You have some kids going to community colleges. They will be able to step up to four-year universities after a couple years. Then you have some kids, off to Saginaw Valley State Colleges. I love those in-state college commits. Wayne State University, Dartmouth, St. Ambrose University. I mean, you're looking at what should have been celebrated as big as homecoming, as big as coming home, as big as a football game that they won. But it was not. It was not celebrated. And for that reason, that's why we're here. I can only speak for my son. The word is disappointment. There you go. I think you got your answer, Mr. Jackson. Athletic department ain't never messed with us for some reason. That's not a good thing. Now, this is actually coming from who I just spoke on, him and his twin brother going to Saginaw Valley State University. And y'all know on my streams, I generally don't mix with the youngins, but I respect not only him coming on as a student athlete, I respect him as a relative. I knew that there were indifferences when I was directly connected to the program. I knew there were differences when I was indirectly connected to the program and disconnected from the program. I understood the differences. And it's an unfortunate thing that now you have a former student athlete at the school who is now disclosing that the athletic department really didn't have a lot to do with the football program. A football program that over the 4 years, over its 4-year period, has now put more kids in higher institutions of learning to play football and take their studies than any other period in its 50, I'm 53, so 54 years. Huron came along in 1969. That is a problem. So where people have always thought, I've had a personal vendetta against the coach, or I've had a personal vendetta against this and that and the other because I wasn't coaching. No, it's always about the kids. I'm always going to speak up for the kids because it looks like the administration can take care of itself. It looks like the athletic department can take care of itself. But who we supposed to be taking care of are these kids. And why weren't these kids taken care of on this day? Of any other day, why weren't they taken care of? And I don't care about the relationship between the former head coach and the athletic director because I've known that's been bad since day one. That relationship was bad since day one. I knew that before day one. He didn't even want him to be the coach. Let's just put it out there now. Since he's not the coach anymore, he didn't want him to be coach and told him he didn't want to be the coach. See, I held on to that one for a long time. Y'all think I talk a lot, but I ain't never uttered that. He told him he didn't want him to be the coach. He told him he was not his guy. He was not his. When you tell the brand new football coach he's not your guy, what are you telling him? What are you telling him? How selfish is that? Whether it was your choice or not. Because I believe at the time there was a full endorsement by the principal, the then principal at the time. There was a full endorsement, and that's how the job was secured, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't even matter anymore. What matters is what he's done over these last several years. Like him or not, agree with him or not, there are kids that have gone to college that probably would not have gone to college under another coach's regime. That's what I do know. That's what I do know. And that's where I have the problem with this. See, I can't always be right. I get it. I can't always be right. A lot of my opinions, people aren't going to agree with. A lot of my views are misunderstood, sometimes purposely. But right now, if you don't understand why I'm upset about these young men not being saluted by their administration, by the athletic department, then you need to get the fuck out of here. Sorry, we got a youngin' in the room. You know, I ain't supposed to be cussing in front of the youngins. I try to be good with that with my grandkids, and that, you know, that's my cousin in there. I look at him more as a nephew because, you know, I'm too old to be cousins with kids. So, you know, they like my nephews. But I'm upset. I'm doing my best to restrain myself, to keep from cussing, because I know where my passion is. And my passion is always going to be with the youngins. And I'm always going to ride with the parents, because the parents are voiceless in a lot of situations. A lot of people think the parents have control, but they don't. Once you put your kids in these programs, you give them away. You hand them off to the coaches. You hand them off to the athletic departments, and they're already a part of the school system. So you just got to kind of stand back and stand by. If something goes wrong, then you can swoop in as a parent and handle business. But for the most part, you really got to stay quiet. And in today's age, with the tenderness, there's a lot of tenderness with coaches and administrations and athletic departments. They're so thin-skinned nowadays. They can't take criticism. So you got to be real careful to make sure your kid don't get blackballed in the program. But these kids right here didn't get blackballed in the program. They got blacked out after they did what they were supposed to do. Held their grades together, kept their commitments, and signed letter of intents to institutions of higher learning to go play football. And hey, they took a lot of weight. Took a lot of weight off of a lot of parents. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars right there at that table being saved with those letters of intent. Thousands. Appreciate you, Brother Tyrone. I mean, thousands. And this is a problem. This is a problem. This is a lack of respect, not only for these youngins, but for their parents. The efforts that they put in throughout these years. And I don't understand. And when you have multiple people on this stream saying that the admin wasn't there, that the athletic department wasn't there, I have to believe now those calls and those texts that I've got that are saying such. Because I was unsure. I was like, damn, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna look stupid. I'm gonna look stupid up here. So hopefully I'm gonna be right. But now we've got not only parents in the chat, we've got players in the chat. That's a beautiful thing. That validates what I'm saying. And that always doesn't happen when I stream. But the validation is now there. The validation is now there. And I'm thankful that I was able to be disciplined because my passion runs deep. My passion runs deep. We're going to take them down for just a quick minute. My passion runs deep for that. for that flaming H. People know me. My passion runs deep. Braden James, are you a former player, youngin? I'm not familiar with your name. Are you a former player or are you a current player? Uh-oh, we got another one. I just mentioned his name, if I'm not mistaken. Davion McLilly. Didn't I just mention your name? Look in here. Sure did. Independent CC. Independent CC. We all knew Tony didn't care about the football program. I'm glad you can put up the laughing face, youngin. Current football player. Braden James, current football player. Keep working, baby. Keep working. I know you're going to have a new coach. I know he's going to bring in a new staff. Keep working. Keep grinding. Because at some point, you do what you need to do, you're going to be right back at this table. Just hopefully you won't have to set it up. Hopefully you won't have to set the backdrop up or set one of the speakers up. And then when they're saluting you that day, maybe I'll grab the microphone. Maybe I'll do that because I believe that's another thing that the school needs. All during Coach Mack's career, he tried to bring in former football players to the football staff. I have to commend him on that. That was in our first meeting that we met. And I didn't have a successful opportunity to coach with him, but I told him the main thing was bringing back alumni. And he did his best to bring back former football players of the program. It's okay to bring in young men who've played football or who know the game. It's okay to do that. But when you are bringing in from a program that has been so disrespected, a school that has been so disrespected, I thought it was important for him to bring in men that had wore that flaming H at some point in their life. And when he did so, I think he saw his fruits. When he had people committed who had been a part of that football program, I think he saw his fruits. So hopefully that new coach will understand what this flaming H is really about and doesn't try to come in and change things, because it don't need changing, just needs some tweaking. And after 4 years, I'd like to say, hey, coach, did you put 50 into college? Coach, do you got a table like this? That's what I want to see. Every year, I want to see 14, 15, 16 kids sitting at a table signing letters of intent to go study and play football at institutions of higher learning. Because that's the first step. That's the first step. You've got to get there, coach. He set a great bar. Matt set a great bar. If all of these kids go off to school and become successful businessmen, successful professionals, tradesmen, skilled laborers, who knows? We might even see a professional athlete out of this bunch. We don't know. See, I don't count on that. I stay with the real. I stay with the real. I know it's a long shot to make it into the league, but all you got to do is keep your nose to the grindstone and you can get out here and make something of yourself with this type of opportunity. What you said there, youngin? Coach Mack is the true. What's that? Okay, I had to figure out what that emoji was. I'm old. I'm old. He was helping even when he wasn't coaching anymore. These are things that I heard. And as I stated from the beginning, my differences with Antoine have nothing to do with this. I'm always going to salute the right shit. Let me just put it out there. I'm always going to salute it. Simply because a lot of people think I'm a rabble rouser, I'm a troublemaker, I'm a this and I'm a that. But see, Those who don't know me gonna say that. Those who know me ride with me. They ride with me, and that's a good thing. I'm somebody good to ride with. But when a situation like this happens, I'm not gonna stand down and be quiet like most folks are. You know, I mean, I could be talking about miscellaneous things that are happening in our community. And I know a lot of people like to talk about some of the negative issues that are happening in our community. But how about let's talk about these positive things that are happening in our community? Let me see this table at Ann Arbor Pioneer. Let me see this table at Ann Arbor Skyline. Let me see this table at Ypsilanti High School. Can I see this table at Lincoln High School, Milan High School? I know Dexter had a good class that came out. I know Chelsea has a couple players that came out this year. I know Celine had a couple players that came out this year. But did they have 17? 20 seniors, 17 going to college? I need to see the stats. I need to see the stats. Documentation beats conversation all goddamn day. So where my differences may be with a man, they'll always be in sync with him when he can do this. When he can do this, we good. We good. We might not speak to each other. We walking down the same lane in the shopping center. But right here, I got to give the man his props. I got to give the man his props. And he's got former players riding with him, and he's got current players riding with him. I haven't heard one positive thing about the athletic department yet. I haven't heard one thing about the principal yet. Why? Maybe because they're absent and they don't deserve it. Y'all keep in mind, a lot of y'all ain't never been on this stream, so the stream is public. So anybody can get on it. And I know people calling people right now, people texting people right now. That's why I wasn't quick to get on and get off. I want anybody that has anything negative to say to me or anybody on here to come on now. Don't wait for the playback to say something greasy. Come on now. I need to know where the principal was. I need to know where the athletic department was. And as far as I'm concerned, the athletic department is the athletic director. Where my differences were with Dottie Davis, I'd have to say Dottie Davis would have been there. Where my differences were with Jane Bennett, previous to Dottie Davis, Jane Bennett would have been there. Where my differences were with any principal prior to this, I can't say that the former principals wouldn't have been there. I can't say that. I can't say that. Because I believe that they had these kids' interest in their heart. I can't say that about the athletic department, especially with the way these players are talking. They felt it. And they still kept doing what they needed to do. They didn't allow leadership in the athletic department to turn them against doing what they needed to do, getting to this point. And it's so crazy to me that I stand around. I stand around after the games are over and stuff sometimes, and would stand around after the football games. And you know, I've seen Tony tear down stuff, put stuff away after games and stuff. How come he wasn't here tearing this down? How come he wasn't there setting it up? Where was all that effort and energy this day? How'd he get ghost on this? This happened right outside his office. Right outside his office. Not 20 feet away from his office. How did he miss this day? I want to know that. That's a problem. That is a problem.
Oh, we got a problem here? We got a problem here? We got a problem there?
Yeah, we got a problem. So I've pretty much maximized what I needed to say on this. And I want to salute all these youngins. Now, I don't believe I read Cameron's name, but I believe Cameron is actually going to school on an academic scholarship. Cameron to the far left, Cameron Brown, he's going to school on an academic scholarship. He's not even going to school on a football scholarship. He's going to school on an academic scholarship. His name should have been in there too, because he played football, but he's not going to play at the higher level, but he's going on academics. If you go into school on academic, coach had to have something to do with that too. Kept him in tune, and he only went to Huron, if I'm not mistaken, a year. He might have went 2, but I thought it was only 1. I just need people to understand, if our passion doesn't stay with these kids, this is why we end up with gun violence. This is why we end up with the sexual assaults, the predatory behaviors. This is why we end up with all of that. Nappy head Adam, 1. I don't know exactly what that means. I know some casters say, hey, put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. But I think y'all can hear me. So whatever that nappy head Adam means, I'm not sure exactly what who you are or what that 1 means, but 1 back to you, 1 back at you. I feel for these youngins. I feel for them. Just because they did. Oh, he only went to school. Okay. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. My son is going on an academic and yes, family. I know this. T4 is going on an academic and football scholarship. Throw them flowers out there. There is nothing wrong with it. Yep, he only went to Huron for 1 year. All right, nappy head Adam. I have to call you my whole name. And I like the name. The fact that you say nappy head Adam, I'm going to say nappy head Adam. Now, if somebody just called you a nappy head, I probably wouldn't allow it. But the fact that you call yourself nappy head, we're going to ride with it. We're going to rock with it today. He says he was only there for 1 year. Another one of our teammates. Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah. So we have to look at this as something to grow on, because we need this to happen every year. Now, I can't say that every term we're going to have 20 seniors, because that's a big class. That means this new coach has got a lot of gaps to fill. He lost a lot of speed, a lot of power. He lost 20 veteran players. So he's got a lot of gaps to fill. But in 4 years, I expect to see this. Next year, I expect to see another table with several players at it, ready to go off to higher institutions of learning. And the year after, I want to see more. And the year after, I want to see more. But where that starts is the support from the athletic department. Where that starts is the support from the administration. Since, just imagine this, folks. Let me come on up a little bit. Let me come on up a little bit. Just imagine this. Picture this. Picture this. Just imagine if those kids would have had an athletic director who looked at the coach as his guy. Because that's what he said. He said, "You not my guy. I didn't want you as the coach." Just imagine if he was his guy. What else could the program have done? What type of endorsement could that have brought the program? What type of influence could that have been on the players? Now, from what I know, this new coach that's come in, I don't know his name yet, and I don't even care to until I shake his hand, because that tells me a lot about a man when I shake his hand. Until I shake his hand, I don't need to know nothing about him. But supposedly this new coach, that's his guy. He handpicked this guy, from what I hear. Handpicked him. There were other candidates out there, qualified. Obviously, there were candidates that he could have picked possibly from this current staff. There were candidates that he could have picked locally, but he looks like he's importing somebody. He's bringing somebody from another territory. I'm always leery of that. How will he relate to these student athletes here in Ann Arbor? How will he relate to these players that are always already dug in where they need to be? I know there's going to be changes. There's going to be new game plans. There's going to be new this, new that. But when you flush the whole program out and you bring somebody in and let them drop their whole situation in on it, you could either be building something good or you could be building something bad. But since it's his guy, I anticipate that he thinks he's going to be successful. And God willing, because where I've been to most of the games over the last few years, I'll probably find myself at least at all the home games. And when I consider a home game, that Saline game, that Pioneer game, that Skyline game, they at the other, I call all those home games. I don't travel as much as I used to. But hell, I went to Temperance last year, I think. But I don't do that always for the players. I do it a lot for the parents. We have so many youngins that mothers are out here going out to watch their sons. Unfortunate, we don't have a lot of fathers. And I see fathers that are out here doing their thing. And then you don't see mothers show up. So I'm just out there supporting some of the kids who don't even get either parent at their games. And I like to always know whose parents ain't out here, because I like to holler for them. What you say there, Davion? I don't think another coach can ever come through Huron and coach and do what Coach Mack did. Hey, in that case, I hope you're wrong, because I respect what he's done, but I hope you're wrong. I hope somebody can come through and beat it. Not because they're beating Coach Mack, but because the program's getting better, because he set the bar for somebody else to come in and beat. He didn't set this bar so somebody after 4 years can come in and get 49, 48, 47. No, I need that next guy to come in and get 51 over 4 years, to get 60 over 4 years. Absolutely. I hope you are wrong, but I salute what you're saying, because I haven't seen it done. In a 4-year period, I have not seen this many kids go off to college to study and play football. But we just dipped over 60 minutes, y'all. Y'all know I can run it 60 minutes real easy. It ain't real hard for me to do. And the fact that we had an active chat, and I want to thank everybody that came in. I know the political pages are probably wondering, why'd you put this up here? I put it up here because we're talking about the kids in our community. And frankly, Ann Arbor has a lot of these kids, but many of these kids live in Ypsi and they go to Huron. And I salute their parents for over the 4-year period, making sure their kids got to Huron, bypassing the school in Ypsilanti for whatever reason that is. We're not here to throw shade at Ypsilanti community schools, but there's a reason when you live 3 blocks from the high school and you make your way to Huron. There's a reason. And that's also a testament to the coach. Ypsi got a football team. It could have played at Ypsi, but no, they wanted to go play football and go study in Ann Arbor Huron. There's a reason. You don't do nothing without a reason. So I think it would be a good thing for me to do this. Once again, Jamil Thomas, Jamari Thomas, Torrance Green IV, Bruce Williams, Adam Samaha, Donnell Green, Davis Hugan, Javion Cater, Aravind Krishnan, Davion McLilly, who's right here in the chat, Trey Edmondson, Zaire Ruff, Laith Shama, and I can't forget Cameron, who's going to school on an academic scholarship. He's at that table as well. These kids need to be saluted, y'all. They need to be saluted. because they were forgotten. They were forgotten. Last thing, Coach Matt got me to come to Huron my sophomore year and promised that we would make history and put us in schools, and he did exactly that. There you go. I see you with your tear-jerking moment. I see you with your tear-jerking moment. Don't have people crying up here in the chat, man. I'm trying to end the stream, bro. Don't have people up here crying in my chat, and I'm trying to end it on a high note. But that's a beautiful thing. That conversation you had with him was impactful enough for you to switch schools from your freshman to sophomore year and come in. And I remember when you got hurt. And I remember when I put up a stream because I was upset because I remember you tried to come back in the game. I remember you. I remember you. You got the heart of a lion. And that never needs to go away, no matter who slights you in life, bro. I have a feeling we're going to have some conversations in the future. I have a feeling we're going to have some conversations in the future. I can't profess to be a mentor, but I'm a mentoring spirit. So we'll talk off air. We'll talk on the back channel. But you just keep your nose to the grindstone. Don't come up for no air. Because what you've already done, you've surpassed what the athletic department thought you could do. You've surpassed what the administration thought you could do. And see, I knew all of y'all could do it. I was there when you were ninth graders. And you were underclassmen to those seniors. And some of those seniors didn't deserve to be in the positions that they were in. But hey, they got their just due. They got their just due. But look at you now. You at the top of the heap. You at that table, signing a letter of intent to go to school and do what you love. That's a beautiful thing. Peace, brother Black Seed. Check out the playback on this, brother. I wasn't specifically speaking about reparations, but we are talking about repair. We were talking about disrespect. We were talking about, once again, how we are left behind. And it's an unfortunate thing. But that's okay. There ain't nothing to hang your heads about this, youngin'. And any of the youngins that's going to see this, nothing to hold your head about. Y'all did your thing. You did what you were supposed to do. It's an unfortunate thing that the administration and the athletic department didn't do what they were supposed to do. But y'all be good. My next clip, I'll be emptying it. I already told you, I got like 4 streams. I got 4 streams like loaded, ready to do the damn thing. So I'm not sure if I'll get back up here tonight and do it. Maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of amped. I might do it. Got to go burn out some of these endorsements. But my heart is with all of y'all. Be men. Your mothers and your fathers raised you to be men. Be men. And when you go out into the world, into those institutions of higher learning, never forget this. Never forget this. That's where you come from. That's who you are. That's what helped make you. Freedman Media is always going to speak on the truth. I know everybody don't like the way I speak it, but I ain't here for everybody. I'm here for my people. Y'all be good. One love.
This revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a worm, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground that we will match you and we will